time for Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show. Live from Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Let's get out of here again. Alabama wins it.
Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show is presented by Alfa Insurance. You do your thing. We've got you covered. Also brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide. Everwood, the official treated lumber of Alabama athletics. Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. And by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Did he get to the first down? He did. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Now, here's the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart.
Welcome, everybody, to Baumhauer's Victory Grill. It is the home of our program, which is brought to you in part by Alfa Insurance, auto, home, life, business. Alfa Insurance covers it all. AlfaInsurance.com. Another great crowd with us here at Baumhauer's, as we have every week on a Wednesday during the college football season, and excited that, as usual, Coach Kalen DeBoer will be with us here tonight starting at 6:30. He'll spend an hour on the program, and part of that show will also include great linebacker for the Crimson Tide, N.Q. Robinson. So the Birmingham native will be checking in with us live on site here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill around 7 o'clock this evening, with Coach DeBoer starting his hour of the program with us at 6:30. We'll start off tonight's show, though, talking with swim and dive head coach Margot Geer. We'll talk about what's happening in the fall for the Crimson Tide, and also take a look ahead at what the spring will entail for that program as well. A lot of things going on with Bama Swim and Dive, including a meet that's coming up in Tuscaloosa very, very soon. Our show is brought to you in part by J&J Apparel. It's your trusted source for Bama gear. New Alabama hats, T-shirts, and polos arrive daily. Visit online, jnjapparel.net, or your retail store in person. It's at 1926 University Boulevard. That's in downtown Tuscaloosa. And as always, RTR with J&J. Do want you to remember, though, if you're coming to Tuscaloosa for the Mercer game next week, you got to get here early and join us at Vector Security Champions Lane. That's the best pregame fan fest you'll find in the country. We got live music starting bright and early at 9 a.m., followed by our pregame radio broadcast live on stage at 10. We're also going to have the early games on the largest outdoor LED screens in Tuscaloosa. There will be autograph signings, food trucks, and, of course, ice-cold beer is available in Legends Lounge. That's where there's never a cover charge. We invite you to come join us and visit online. ChampionsLane.com is where you can get more details. And when you come in town, take advantage of Game Day Done Right. That's the exclusive provider of reserved tailgating opportunities for Alabama home games, and the university offers packages for all group sizes for a single game and the entire season as well. Find out more at GameDayDoneRight.com. When we come back, we're going to go swimming and diving, talking with head coach Margot Geer. That's next, right here from Baumhauer's Victory Grill on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
This Week at Alabama is presented by UA Online, proudly supporting the military, including special tuition grants for undergrads. Alabama women's basketball hits the road this week, but don't worry, they will be back in Coleman Coliseum on Sunday, November 10th, to host Troy at 2. Alabama men's basketball will be in action here at home. The Tide will host Arkansas State this Friday at 7 p.m. for Friday Night Lights. The Tide will continue the homestand on Monday, November 11th against McNeese State at 6 p.m. for Bama Salute Night. So come show your support for our military personnel. Alabama volleyball returns to Foster Auditorium next week for a weekend full of matchups, with Bama Salute Night against Mississippi State on November 15th at 6, and again on November 17th at noon against the reigning national champs, the Texas Longhorns. You don't want to miss out on some great volleyball. Alabama football is back in action after the bye week as the Tide returns to SEC play to take on the LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. The Tide will be back at home November 16th to host Mercer for their Bama Salute game with a 1 p.m. kickoff. Students, make sure you sign up for Crimson Chaos so that you can be a part of Tide Sports all season long. You can join through your MyBama account. Sign up today. That's it for what's happening this week at Alabama, presented by UA Online, where you can earn a top-notch bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree tailored to you in social work. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back here next week. Roll Tide!
Roll Tide, roll! The Alabama Crimson Tide. Cunningham again. Shot good, and she's fouled. There she goes, and there's Barker. Timmons there, setting her team up. Possibly the dagger for Alabama. Right to the rim. Got it. Kicks, Nye, right corner, three. She hits it. Nye steals the inbounds. Left side to Timmons. Layup good. It's a 2-point game.
Welcome back, everybody, to Hey Coach. It's presented by Alfa Insurance. I'm Chris Stewart. Great to have you with us here from Baumhower's Victory Grill for our program. As we said, in about 30 minutes, Coach Kalen DeBoer will be joining us, but we start things off talking swim and dive at the University of Alabama with head coach Margot Gear. Coach, good to see you as always.
Good to see you, too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great crowd as usual here at Baumhower's, and a chance to talk about some things going on with your program. You were giving me the 101 on scheduling when we first got here tonight. Talk to our audience a little bit about how things work this time of year, because you do have competitions in both semesters, which is a little bit different.
Yeah, so we start off, we've got some dual meets starting in September, actually, and we work all the way through March. And so really September, October, November is a lot of dual meets, head-to-head competition. We finish the fall with an invite, and we go to Georgia for that, and that's got some SEC competition, a lot of different teams. And then really from there, it's kind of more championship focused. So from like January to March, we're focused on SECs and then NCAAs. And so we kind of think of it in two different parts,
Sure.
but we are competing all throughout the fall and the spring.
And look, anytime you're representing the A, it matters. You're competing, and I would imagine that even though what happens in the fall may not count in the standings, the records, it gives your student athletes a great opportunity to stay focused and to get that competition feel that they are going to need to be prepared for when you get to the spring.
Yeah, absolutely. We think of it as like being battle tested a little bit in the fall, right? So we're still going against some really great teams. Like this Friday, we'll be going against LSU and FSU, so two great teams, some fast teams. And then, like I said, at that invite, we're going to be going against some really great teams. So the fall is really, to get more reps under our belt, and then into the spring, it's all about, how fast can we go.
For your kids, they ever talk about when they're competing with somebody the same weekend maybe that football is? There's a lot of talk and conversation, obviously, about the LSU and Alabama matchup. Tell me about it.
Absolutely.
In that regard.
We actually kind of set it up that way, and we typically try to do that a little bit just in terms of it's like aligning as an athletic department a little bit.
Sure.
And so, there's a lot of buzz right now about Alabama versus LSU and football, obviously, but then we kind of want to share in that fun. And so, we historically have had that meet on the same weekend. So a fun matchup on Friday and then also on Saturday.
Does that take place in Baton Rouge?
The swim meet's going to be here at home.
Gotcha.
It's going to be in Tuscaloosa on Friday. So, we typically do, if the football game's away, we'll swim home, and then, vice versa.
Well, look, it's tough from a logistics standpoint, and that's kind of the neat thing. If you're not going to Baton Rouge for football, fans have an opportunity where it's a little easier to get in to see your squad. Parking's easier. All of the logistics can be easier. And they can start hating LSU early and pull for your squad, most importantly.
Exactly. We can start rooting for Alabama early. Yep.
Talk to us about the recruiting for your sport, what that's like, what the reach looks like. I'm going to assume it's like every other sport on campus, Alabama has a national brand, a national and even international reach.
Yeah, it's global. It really is, and that's the history of the program as well. We've had some great swimmers and divers from all over the world, and Alabama, the brand and just the script day in general, extends far beyond just the U.S. So we've had great success, obviously domestic, but then also really on the world stage as well.
When you have an Olympic season, we're just coming off of Olympic season, but you had a number of student athletes, I believe, that got an opportunity to compete in trials, did they not?
Yes, yep.
Tell me about that and what that experience is like for them and how that helps your program as a whole, not just the competition element, but in terms of notoriety and recruiting.
Yeah, we've had a number of people that came into the program and did not have Olympic trial cuts, or they weren't maybe at that level yet, and then they got here, and after 1 year, they were able to make those standards. So yeah, we were in Indianapolis for Olympic trials. They were, vying for Olympic spots, and they were kind of making their dreams come true, and that's always awesome to be a part of. And so now, their next step is to go represent the U.S. and to be on national teams and things like that. And so we've got men and women that are now absolutely in those spots where they could someday do that, which is pretty cool.
Tell me what you're looking for with a student athlete in your sport, besides your scores, your times. I know that's obvious, but what does it look like to have a student athlete that you want, that's maybe specific to you and your program, that would be different from LSU's or anybody else you compete against?
Yeah, I think we're really looking for somebody who has a competitive spirit. I think that's important. Somebody who loves to compete, loves to race, obviously disciplined in certain ways, coachable I think is big, and just has great character overall. I think somebody that does things the right way and does that consistently in all areas of their life. So great students as well. Our team has, historically always recruited some really great people, and so
right.
We're excited about who we have, but then we're always looking for, who can we possibly get that's going to be better down the road as well.
I mentioned the A and what that brand means. I'm going to assume that even though there are some countries where collegiate sports in the States may not mean a whole lot to them, if they know anything about college athletics, they do know that A. Tell me about how that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Our reach has just gone far beyond, the States. It really is global. And so I think, obviously as an athletic department, I think you can see the success that we've had in all the different sports. And I think that just reaches to not just, football and basketball and these other sports, but also obviously swimming and diving as well.
All right, Coach, we need to take time out. Do want to remind everybody, if you want to join us a little bit later, the McCurry Van and Car Rental Hotline is 877-202-BAMA, and also, you wouldn't know it today, but as the weather begins to turn cooler, we hope it means very soon, and we hope it means it does indeed mean it's going to be chili season at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Their signature BB's homemade chili is packed with plenty of flavor, love, hearty beef tips, and a splash of draft beer, and it's topped off with fresh, hand-cut toppings served all day, every day. Grab a cup or a bowl at your favorite Baumhauer's Victory Grill location today. We're back with more. Coach Margot Geer, swim and dive head coach at the University of Alabama, with us next on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Roll Tide, roll! The Alabama Crimson Tide. Cunningham again. Shot good, and she's fouled. There she goes, and there's Barker.
Timmons there. Setting her team up.
Possibly the dagger for Alabama. Right to the rim. Got it. Kicks. Nye, right corner three. She hits it. Nye steals the inbounds. Left side to Timmons. Layup good. It's a 2-point game.
This Week at Alabama is presented by UA Online, proudly supporting the military, including special tuition grants for undergrads. Alabama women's basketball hits the road this week, but don't worry, they will be back in Coleman Coliseum on Sunday, November 10th, to host Troy at 2. Alabama men's basketball will be in action here at home. The Tide will host Arkansas State this Friday at 7 p.m. for Friday Night Lights. The Tide will continue the homestand on Monday, November 11th against McNeese State at 6 p.m. for Bama Salute Night. So come show your support for our military personnel. Alabama volleyball returns to Foster Auditorium next week for a weekend full of matchups with Bama Salute Night against Mississippi State on November 15th at 6, and again on November 17th at noon against the reigning national champs, the Texas Longhorns. You don't want to miss out on some great volleyball. Alabama football is back in action after the bye week as the Tide returns to SEC play to take on the LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. The Tide will be back at home November 16th to host Mercer for their Bama Salute game with a 1 p.m. kickoff. Students, make sure you sign up for Crimson Chaos so that you can be a part of Tide sports all season long. You can join through your MyBama account. Sign up today. That's it for what's happening this week at Alabama, presented by UA Online, where you can earn a top-notch bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree tailored to you in social work. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back here next week. Roll Tide!
Alabama's newest tailgate tradition is Roll Tide Jerky, and proceeds from the sale will help fuel Crimson Tide athletes. It's coming to a store near you and online, rolltidejerky.com. Roll Tide Jerky, where passion and protein collide. I'm Chris Stewart, along with swim and dive head coach Margot Gear here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Coach, you were coaching me up on your sport in the last segment. We talked about the fall as well as the spring competition, but you've also, with this squad, you got some new faces on the roster that had a pretty good fall for you already, and earlier in October had some success as well.
Yeah, so we've got, just like kind of every other sport right now, the transfer portal is kind of evolving, and we're kind of able to find some talent in there. And so we've had a couple, additions on the men's side and then on the women's side as well that are really going to help us this upcoming spring, which we're excited about. So, Tony Dragoja is coming from George Washington. He's an addition that we have on the men's side. Lance Johnson's coming from Kentucky. On the women's side, we've got Victoria Raymond coming from Tulane, and so just people that are going to help us individually, but then also on relays and different things that that's going to be awesome for the team.
All right. We mentioned it in the last segment, but this weekend is a big deal because you get a chance to compete on campus. And this is not like a lot of other team sports where, half of your competitions take place in Tuscaloosa. This is a rare opportunity for fans to get a chance to see your sport in person, to support you in person. And Friday at 11, that's a great opportunity. Tell us what's going on and how they can be a part of it.
Yeah, so Friday, doors open at 10, and the meet will start at 11. We've got swimming, we've got diving, we've got men, we've got women, we've got just a lot of fun things going on. There's going to be a DJ, there's going to be a splash zone where there's going to be some free water bottles, I think free donuts for the first 100 people. And so we've kind of put some different things into it. It's going to be a fun morning on Friday, and so would love for as many people as possible to come out and support us. And obviously going against two great teams, so
Sure.
That'll make a great environment, and the team will definitely get behind that.
One-day competition.
One-day competition, yep.
Come in on Friday morning, go enjoy it. Knock off a little early for lunch if you need to.
Yep.
Develop
There's going to be a food truck
cough.
there'll be a food truck at the pool as well.
That's right. So they take care of lunch there, but if they develop a cough and maybe can't go back into work that afternoon, not that I'm advocating for that, but there's a chance to spend a little extra time there. Exactly. Get ready for Saturday. Medicinal purposes only.
Yep.
It's awesome to have that going on. And again, we tend to think because of all the attention and understandably so for football that when it's away, it's nothing happening on campus, but that's one example of what is taking place.
Yep. And it'll be a couple-hour competition, 2 hours. We'll have some sprint events. We're going to have people from all over the country, or all over the world, really. But Olympians, SEC champions, all sorts of people in the pool, really talented athletes.
You mentioned men's and women's. Talk to me about the dynamic of coaching your sport and in the range you have to have as a head coach, but also what the staff situation looks like and how you can split duties in that regard.
Yeah, so blessed with a great staff. We've definitely, we split off by, groups and positions, somewhat similar to, other sports as well. So we've got people working with sprinters, middle distance, and so we have to have great coaches that can coach each group. And we really feel like we've got a pretty strong team and a pretty balanced team in that way. So excited to see what they can show on Friday and kind of get the season started.
Look forward to that. And again, more information available at rolltide.com, but it is on Friday at 11 o'clock. The Tide taking on LSU, and Florida State will both be in town to compete in swim and dive. And Coach, always appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Great to see you.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Coach Margot Gear with us here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. When we come back, we will be updating you on some other things going on with Alabama athletics. Still 10 minutes away from having Coach Kalen DeBoer as we turn our attention to Alabama football right here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Stay cool this season at Bryant-Denny Stadium when you purchase a limited edition Bama Yeti. These custom Yeti cups are available on game days only at Champions Lane. Now this week we're going to give out our new 4+2 deal. If you reserve and purchase 4 Ryan Williams Yetis at championslane.com, we're going to give you 2 complimentary tickets to the Mercer game while supplies last. Again, go to championslane.com to get more details and elevate your game with Yeti. Also want to remind you to get game day ready with Alumni Hall. It's your ultimate Crimson Tide shopping experience. Shop Nike, top brands, tailgating gear. Head to Alumni Hall in Midtown Village or shop alumnihall.com. That's a chance for you to spend $150 and get $10 in rewards for your next purchase at Alumni Hall. Coming back, we're going to talk about the Everwood Performance of the Week here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
This Week at Alabama is presented by UA Online, proudly supporting the military, including special tuition grants for undergrads. Alabama women's basketball hits the road this week, but don't worry, they will be back in Coleman Coliseum on Sunday, November 10th to host Troy at 2. Alabama men's basketball will be in action here at home. The Tide will host Arkansas State this Friday at 7 p.m. for Friday Night Lights. The Tide will continue the homestand on Monday, November 11th against McNeese State at 6 p.m. for Bama Salute Night, so come show your support for our military personnel. Alabama volleyball returns to Foster Auditorium next week for a weekend full of matchups, with Bama Salute Night against Mississippi State on November 15th at 6, and again on November 17th at noon against the reigning national champs, the Texas Longhorns. You don't want to miss out on some great volleyball. Alabama football is back in action after the bye week as the Tide returns to SEC play to take on the LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. The Tide will be back at home November 16th to host Mercer for their Bama Salute game with a 1 p.m. kickoff. Students, make sure you sign up for Crimson Chaos so that you can be a part of Tide sports all season long. You can join through your MyBama account. Sign up today. That's it for what's happening this week at Alabama, presented by UA Online, where you can earn a top-notch bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree tailored to you in social work. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back here next week. Roll Tide!
The Everwood Performance of the Week goes to the Alabama women's cross-country team. They won the 2024 SEC Cross-Country Championships. They captured the women's 6K individual title. Doris Lemongoli was able to not only shatter the previous course record, but also propel the Crimson Tide women to their 4th SEC team title. It was their 2nd in the last 3 years. So congratulations to Alabama women's cross country, winners of the 2024 SEC Cross Country Championships. That is your Everwood Performance of the Week. Everwood, wood treated right. When we come back, head coach Kalen DeBoer joins us as we get things started with the Kalen DeBoer Show right here from Baumhauer's Victory Grill on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
DeBoer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. This is the Kalen DeBoer Show, presented by Alfa Insurance. You do your thing. We've got you covered. Now with head coach Kalen DeBoer, here's Chris Stewart.
Welcome, everybody. Great to have you with us for the Kalen DeBoer Show, presented by Alfa Insurance. Auto, home, life, business. Alfa Insurance covers it all. AlfaInsurance.com. Great to have you with us for another edition of our program. I'm Chris Stewart. So glad that you have joined us for the program. Coach Kalen DeBoer making sure he's got a bottle of water. He's got a couple of Sharpies. He's ready to sign some autographs. He's ready to win a football game this weekend. And, Coach, always good to see you. Thanks so much for the time.
You're rolling already, huh?
I'm rolling already.
Man,
For once, I actually got prepared for you.
All
I
right.
apologize.
There we go. That's good to see you, too.
Yeah, we appreciate the time, and I know the team is ready to get going. We talked a little bit about it by phone last week, but how good for the players and the staff to get a bye week this time of the year?
Yeah, and you got to make sure you use it the right way, and I think our guys have still working on things, getting better, getting the bodies back for the final run here, and then making sure that the energy is focused in the right areas. And when we got back to work after a day or two off at the end of the week, Sunday was really good, and the week's been really positive.
It helps that, doesn't it, Coach, when you're coming off a win and a really solid, I know there's no such thing as perfection, but a complete game in getting the win 34-0.
Yeah, it was. The Missouri game going into it really felt like we had, a very good opponent that, balanced offense to defense, special teams even. There were some things there that they did really well that we were, making sure we were on our, at our best against. And so, we came out and the defense, of course, didn't allow a score the entire game, but, that was right off the bat. They had maybe their backs to the wall a time or two with some poor field position. Offense, once the field position kind of got at least evened out and neutral, took advantage of a takeaway. I believe Malachi's was the first one there. And punched that in for a touchdown on top of the 2 field goals we had earlier in the game.
We talked before, and people tend to think of your last school as maybe being where you're from and where you coached all the time, but you've coached in a lot of these SEC venues. You coached at Bryant-Denny Stadium, as it was known then, before we put Saban Field on the front of it. But you knew what this was like. You'd been at some other stops around the league. How about Tiger Stadium? Have you coached a game in there?
Yeah, in 2015 when I was at Eastern Michigan.
Okay. And so what's maybe special, unique about this one, not from then, but now? You played, obviously, in a loud, hostile environment in Neyland Stadium. Everywhere you play in the SEC, it's loud. Heck, they were under construction, and it still got loud, primarily thanks to Alabama fans in Nashville against Vandy, but everywhere. You got noise, you got things like that to deal with. What special steps, if any, do you take to get you guys ready for a night game in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, you learn from the experiences, whether it was the last road game or any of the others, and just keep refining what we do, whether it's the process or just, what we got to adapt to and knowing full well what the environment and atmosphere is going to be. So a lot of that work in practice. The offense is sick of hearing over the last 2 weeks, a speaker, whether we're in the indoor and it's just blasting full go and you can't hear anything, or a speaker right behind, the quarterback to where, they probably lost some hearing. Let's just put it that way over the last 2 weeks. But, you know that everything's going to happen just a little bit slower. Communication takes just a little bit longer because the quarterback's got to go to the line of scrimmage a lot of times. You want to be sure of things, and your hand signals and stuff got to be on point. But and then they're locked in your focus, there's enough other stuff going on when it's not loud, and now add the noise to it. That's what we're preparing for.
Tell me about practice this week. And again, this is an adjustment for me, so forgive me. You still got work to do. I know it's not a Thursday night deal where the hay's in the barn, so to speak, but it's a Wednesday night. But to this point, What have you seen from your team that lets you know they're very much on track for being prepared?
Yeah,
for the weekend?
it was last week too, but it really on Sunday I thought, which thinking ahead, I didn't really envision practice being when it was dark on Sunday. Didn't have that process. I mean, I did once we got to Saturday, Sunday, and I'm thinking about the time change, but that was different. So Sunday afternoon, we're practicing, and it felt like a night practice, which I'm thinking, okay, it's a night game, so that's good. I'd like to think I thought further ahead on that one, but it was all good. It was an hour and 20-minute practice, short and sweet, to the point. Guys got a lot done, and I guess my point on that is, though, that the energy was extremely high, and that carried over to Tuesday morning, and it's been just very consistent. And there's a business-like attitude. There's an underlying kind of energy that exists, an attitude, but it's a business-like mentality, and they're getting ready. And like you said, we still got a lot of work to do between tomorrow, Friday, and we always say that preparation never stops.
All right, Coach, our first question of the night is brought to us by Alabama 811. Help prevent injuries, outages, and loss of life potentially. Call 811 or visit al811.com before you dig. It's free, it's simple, it's the law. And as always, it's Pee Wee down in Grand Bay starting us off. How you doing, Pee Wee?
I'm doing good, Chris. Coach, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Pee Wee.
Hey, before I say anything, I would just like to say congratulations to you and your wife on the announcement of y'all's third child. Now you're going to have a born and bred Alabamian in the family, so we're going to have to keep you around here for a while.
Yeah, Pee Wee, I hate to burst your bubble on that one, but that's something that has happened with a lot of people, and not just me. So rumors, it's crazy. And the only reason I know is because I've got a lot of text messages saying congratulations. So.
So here's the deal.
Oh, well.
I cut my eyes real quick, Pee Wee. You can't see it on radio, but I'm going, huh?
Oh, well.
I got a lot of congratulations by text message.
So about the internet, then.
Yeah, you can't believe any of that stuff. That's all good. It's all good.
All right, well, we got a tough game coming up this weekend. Two things about it. Number one, how important it is going to be to start fast in this game. And then number two, we have the possibility of rain Saturday night. So what are your wet ball drills like this week?
Yeah, great question. We certainly are always ahead looking ahead when it comes to the forecast, and know that there is a pretty good chance. And so, I love our guys' attitude towards it. There's ways where you just, you throw some distraction at them with wet balls and things like that. And then, we had guys asking, we were doing it anyway, but just literally throwing their arms out there and, just getting everything wet, whether it's carrying the ball or your center snapping, your quarterback, your running backs, just looking for that. And so, practicing that, especially yesterday, and we did a little bit again today. What was the first part of the question, Pee Wee?
How important it is going to be about starting
fast. No, yeah, without doubt. And that's important in every game. But when you're on the road, it really changes things, And if you can take the crowd out of it and play that well to where it really kind of takes the fire out of the crowd through your execution, that's a big deal. But I expect the crowd to be fighting and for 4 quarters but our starting fast is going to be really huge, and it's also for just the psyche of your football team. And I don't care if it's our team or it's anyone's team. That's a big deal. Football is a game of momentum. It's a game of confidence, energy, and so starting fast is big.
So 2 weeks ago, we celebrated your 50th birthday on the show, and I'd just like to build off of what Pee Wee was saying, and congratulations. I'm going to say congratulations on the fact that it ain't true.
I am 50.
You are 50.
That is real.
That is real,
yeah,
but because you're 50, I'm going to congratulate you on the fact that the other part wasn't true. Had it happen at 40, man, I
love my kids, though.
Yeah, I understand. You love your kids, but doesn't mean you want any more. Let's move right along. Let's go to Mobile. Kramer, welcome to the show.
Hey, Coach. Garrett Nussmeier is one of the top quarterbacks in all the SEC. How do we plan to slow him down on Saturday?
Yeah, we got some good questions tonight. You know, he can make all the throws. He can make them on the run. He's got a lot of confidence, and he has a very good offensive line. They're just solid across the board offensively. They got the different type of skill sets you're looking for. You got your speedy slot receivers. You got your big, tall, athletic tight ends that can tight end especially that can do a lot of things for you. And some outside perimeter guys that just with space are hard to tackle. And the guy that runs the show, Nussmeier, he can deliver it. He is good at understanding the offense and how it applies and where his throws are that are easy completions to let his athletes go and do things with the ball in their hands. And so for us, you got to change things up. You gotta still do the things that I think matter, and that's try to make a team one-dimensional. You focus on the pass, and all of a sudden you're giving up the run game, and now they got everything at the tip of their fingers. That's what you really want to try to avoid. And so for us, stopping the run, putting them behind the chains. Their third down conversion percentage is extremely high. And a lot of that is because they can not just convert to 3rd and 4s, but they can convert to 3rd, 9, 10, 11s, just because he delivers on time, he anticipates, he's confident, and so that you gotta put some pressure, put them in uncomfortable spots. That's easier said than done, but that's why we're practicing. That's why we put a game plan together.
Can I ask you who Garrett Nussmeier was at practice a couple of weeks?
Well, Austin Mack's done a great job. I mean, just in general, giving a lot of different looks. And so, he's tall, and so you're not going to block your defensive line as well with your guys that are given the look. And so, for him to be able to see and make those throws, right. And he doesn't maybe have the same stature, and I think Nussmeier with his mobility and things like that, but just being able to deliver those throws, Austin's done a great job.
Is that one of the toughest things? I mean, yes, you can put plays in, run those for your scout against your first team, second team, so that they can see maybe schematically what they're doing, but it's hard. There's not a machine to go to and replicate what the other side has person for person.
Yeah, and then to me, it's also the plays that happen that are not within the rhythm of what the play is designed to be. And, right. That's where, when you got an offensive line blocking for you and you got, they're very good at what I would consider called scramble drill, where a quarterback breaks contain, which he does a lot, and, the receiver's really working well. And so practicing that, really the best look you can do is your own offense, and in your good on good periods that we do every day, trying to simulate that to just, show what it's going to feel like on Saturday. But that's really hard to really try to simulate is the off schedule stuff, the things that, are produced by a quarterback who's creative and got a veteran group of receivers around him.
Phone lines are brought to you by McCurry Van and Car Rental, the McCurry Van and Car Rental hotline, 877-202-BAMA. We're back with more of the Kalen DeBoer Show. We're live at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. We return right after this on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
For the first time since claiming the NCAA West Regional Championship, the Alabama Crimson Tide is back in Coleman Coliseum.
This is Alabama basketball.
The preseason #2 team in the nation has many new faces, but even higher expectations as we get started on the 2024-2025 men's college basketball season. Later up and good, and Alabama has the 2-0 advantage. Great start for Alabama. Tripped by Phylon, ahead to Reed, and Darian will get his first points in a Bama uniform with a flood. Defense leading the offense. Alabama gets the steal, and now Reed will inbound it, gets it into Phylon. Phylon underneath, hesitates and lays it in for 2. Phylon to the right, lays it in. Then he stole it on the inbound, puts it up, got fouled, and he'll go to the line to shoot a pair. What a play by Phylon. The defensive play. Them on top, 28-14. 14. Jaron Stevenson back in the game, driving to the rack and ripping it down. But Aiden gives it off to Amori, back now to Fylon, to Amori for the plug. Well, two new teammates, but they have learned each other quickly. Alabama's getting after it defensively, getting stops, deflections, getting on the floor for 34 to go. Throws the line and the flush for the Big Red Dog. And a timeout's going to be called once again by national head coach Clark. And Alabama's going to win the opener 110 to
Go, man. First one, man.
Start.
To Milrow from the pistol, play action. He'll keep it himself. He runs right into the back of a blocker, changes direction, gets to the 5, gets to the pylon, got in, touchdown Alabama. What an improvisation there by Jalen Milrow. Hey Coach, and the Kalen DeBoer Show are presented by Alfa Insurance. Auto, home, life, business. Alfa Insurance covers it all. AlfaInsurance.com. 6:30 the kickoff time on Saturday night. Actually 6:49, but we go with 6:30 is what they're telling us. So that means we go on the air at 3:30 Central on the Crimson Tide Sports Network on Saturday as Coach Kalen DeBoer's Crimson Tide will indeed take on the LSU Tigers. Coach, our first question from our AL.com Alabama football Facebook page. It's going to come from Kip in Alexandria, Virginia. Kip says, hey, Coach, going back to the Missouri shutout, can you comment on the improvement of the defense since the start of the season? Looking forward to Saturday night.
Yeah, I think there's been things that you do well, and then there's kind of how we put it to our guys. You're either shutting things down or you're inviting opportunity with every game that you play and the things you put on film, whether that's offense, defense, or special teams. And so I think the thing with the improvement over the last week or Missouri game in particular was a lot of guys healthier throughout the week of practice and just really being more in sync. And when the opportunities that were there, they played confidently, played aggressively, and that was good to see. It was good to have those guys. There was a vibe to practice with more of them taking more reps, still kind of working through some of the guys coming back, and that's what's been nice here now is having, again, little healthier than we were maybe weeks 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Good deal. All right, Coach, we've got questions from here. This great crowd that's assembled at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. A couple of young guys here. Buddy, say your name and tell Coach your question.
What is your hobbies outside of coaching football?
I'm pretty boring, honestly, when it comes to what you're going to get for an answer. I would say I would enjoy golfing if there was something like that. There's not a lot of opportunity for it, but I would enjoy that. And then the rest of the time is honestly just with the family, And so I knew you wanted something really cool and really out there, but I apologize for that. But thanks for asking.
I guarantee you the kids think it's cool, time with the family.
They do.
Your kids,
Yep.
I've always felt it's.
Yep.
Is that the toughest part, especially at the level? Coaching takes time, period. But especially at this level, the home work balance is quite a challenge, I know.
And I this is where the small college guy comes out in me, and I really don't feel like it's different, at whatever level you are. Because I think when you're at the smaller college level, there's more jobs for you to do. So what you might be doing here with more intense recruiting, you might be switching laundry,
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
laundry for your
guys,
team after practice or something like that, you know, and just the other odds and end jobs. And so there's only so many hours of the day, and they're filled up by, and just in the my respect for the coaching profession. I want to be really careful on how I answer that because I have respect for football coaches. I don't care if they're high school, small college, major college, all of it. I know what they pour into them, and especially the ones that do it for the right reasons.
For those that may have missed it, I loved your story about, I think it was your first head coaching job in the NAIA, and you're having a staff meeting, which meant that you stood in the hallway and you looked on one side and you talked to your offensive staff, which was one person, and you also had your defensive staff in on the meeting because he was in his office on the other side of the hallway, and you literally, there's three of you and there's one hallway, and you stand there while the others are at their desk.
I had a GA who is now a coordinator in an FCS program that was part of that staff, and he was so fired up for a staff meeting that we were going to have, bring in his notebook and pen and all that, and I think he was really disappointed when he found out really what that staff meeting was going to all entail, because there was just no more than what we normally have,
Sure.
So such a small group.
And I would imagine that as, again, you moved up in your career, and you did a little different. You moved up from a head coaching standpoint, but really you did so initially by going from head coach in the NAIA to Division I assistant, right? Isn't that the way that worked?
Four different assistant jobs. And, I think that's the piece I always take from us. I saw 4 more ways to do it, and 4, not completely, but 4 different just variations to styles, whether it's personalities of the head coach or, schedules or, offensive coach, defensive coach. I saw it all. And so that growth that I think happened during that time, different moves, you become uncomfortable because you have to adapt. And I think that's when your greatest growth happens, when you're uncomfortable.
Was the scouting the toughest part of that?
Scouting.
Was scouting when you were a head coach, I'm sorry, it first got started?
Are you
trying to be able to
for the next opponent?
Right.
Yeah, I mean you're your own GA, So you have, as we went through it, there was GAs that would do some breakdown and things like that, but a lot of just understanding with pencil to paper, kind of old school, just kind of sorting things out. And I still, at times, I think those are still the best ways for you to really process what you're seeing from a defense or an offense is still, at times, just really dialing in. I mean, I'll tell you that I did this week.
Yeah.
Just really trying to understand alignments, and when you write things down, I think you process it on another level, and you can, really understand what you're seeing. And so, still don't lose little bits and pieces. We've got to work more efficiently because we have access to technology, which is completely different now than it was back then too.
I was going to say, on the game Saturday in Baton Rouge, you will have, I don't know how you do it because I haven't flown with your team, but I would imagine you've got access, if you want it on the laptop, the iPad, you can literally watch the film as you get on the plane and you're flying home.
Oh yeah, that's always the case. Whether it's our stuff that we'll watch on LSU in preparation before the game or immediately after the game, we're grading the film as a staff, especially in night game and then the quick turnaround to Sunday. Most of the coaches will grade as much as they can. It'll be a shorter flight, but as much as they can on the flight back, just to get ahead of the game. And we all want to see what happened, good or bad or ugly anyway, and so we want to see it and kind of have an understanding before you go to bed. But a lot of guys will grade it, even before we get off the plane.
So for LSU, you got a game plan situation. I know a lot of work is done well in advance. When you got a known commodity and a coach in Brian Kelly, tendencies, you have all of that. But what are you looking at as the head coach on a Monday of game week when you are watching film?
Well, this week would be different, like you said, because of a bye week. But I think it maybe not necessarily Monday, but there is different times throughout the week where, yes, you're putting the plan together because you see the schemes and personnel, and you're attacking, or you got to be ready for how they're going to attack you in all phases. The things that hey, we got to pay special attention because this is something that they really hang their hat on, or this is something that could pose a problem. But I think the other piece too is just understanding the flow of the game and understanding what the risks you might have to take when you're in certain moments early into the game, and why. And the thing you want to know, like, okay, is their offense like that good? I'm talking about any team that good, and they're moving the ball down the field because they're just going to be really hard to stop, or is it just that, hey, they're making some plays that maybe normally they wouldn't make? And so you're really trying to understand their personnel, what that looks like each and every drive up and down the field, to know, hey, I got to take some bigger risks early in the game, right. It's just going to be hard because the score is going to be a higher score just because of the nature of the opponent you're playing, and vice versa.
I understand you weren't in the same league, but I'm going to guess there's a little familiarity with Brian Kelly, given the fact you're in the same state for a few years, right? When you were at Indiana? Or had he gotten it?
Yeah, the crossover wasn't. Yeah, there was never really any
never
crossover
the same
there.
Time.
Yep,
I'm sorry.
Yep.
So that was further back than I was thinking. All right, so tell me what familiarity you did have with him. Obviously, having been at Notre Dame, everybody knows the program, and you see it from a distance. You got your own thing you're trying to deal with and get through, but obviously one of the more respected names in your profession.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll tell you what I just see right now, and I see a team that has great athletes, offensively, defensively, explosive. Whether it's the running back that can hit a home run anytime, or we talked about the skill guys on the outside. But well coached, have been through the fire, home, away, close games, some things similar to us as far as just the battle tested, and just a team that continues to then the next week regroup and bring their best, and playing at home, that they're going to use that to their advantage in a lot of different ways, not just in the energy, but just using the things that noise creates, and that's the problems and the things that will be hard for us. So he does a great job. Coach does a great job, getting his team ready to play each and every week.
To me, Coach, it speaks volumes about what this league is. I know you've talked about it some for yourself, and I know you're not one to speak for other people, but Notre Dame, a legacy program like the University of Alabama, but to leave that and go to a very good program, a national championship level program at LSU, but it's in the Southeastern Conference. You coached in a national championship game as recently as last season, but you came here to the SEC and specifically the University of Alabama to be in this league. It's where the best truly are.
Yeah, it's where if you want to be challenged and see where you can take a team. This is the toughest league in the country. Just every week, that you're going to get. If you're at Alabama, you're always going to get someone's best shot, but you're just going to get a great opponent every single week, and one that's well coached, well prepared, got great athletes. Sometimes you can face a team and you can find that one weakness and find different ways to exploit that weakness. It's certainly really hard to find that weakness in a team that you can go after over and over, and then that's not just a personnel thing, but there's coaches on the other side that are doing a pretty good job of making adjustments to cover up for their weaknesses.
All right, Coach, right now we're going to pause 10 seconds so our local stations can identify themselves to you. Welcome to the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
I'm Chris Freeland with Tide TV, joined by quarterback Jalen Milroe, fresh off the practice field. You had the week off last week, this week preparing for LSU. What's the vibe out there?
I think the best thing is coming off the bye week. Everyone's fresh and ready to go. I think the biggest thing that we all have is just the mindset we're ready to practice. And that's the best thing what I see from the guys on the practice field today was everyone was ready to practice and have the right mindset and ready to attack. Because, we have definitely a tough opponent. Against a tough crowd, and going on the road, it's all about being a great communicator. Also, just being on the same page with whatever we do, and so that's the mindset that we're all trying to have. Today with attacking today, seizing every opportunity that we have, and being the best prepared team when it comes to Saturday. And so it starts with today, and so I'm definitely excited for what's ahead for our group. But the biggest thing, we have to prepare the right way, have the right mindset. And I think our coach is doing a really good job with pushing us and just getting on the same page so that we can be the best us moving forward.
Jalen, you traveled to LSU this weekend. You haven't played there before, but you were there 2 years ago when Alabama went there and played. Just kind of talk about that environment, what that's going to be like, and just going against that LSU defense.
I think no matter what, when we play on the road, it's going to be definitely a great atmosphere. And for us, number one, we have to be great communicators. We all have to be on the same page, and also acknowledge when it comes to our assignment. Just mastering our assignment and knowing what we have on each and every play, and eliminate bad plays. That's going to be so important when to be on the road and all just be on the same page. But to speak about the defense, I think the defensive line is the best aspect of their defense. They have a lot of edge rushers that are disruptive, and always try to get the offense off schedule when it comes to backing them up, and also just causing disruption to the passing game and the run game. Then they also have linebackers that are very disciplined, float to the ball well, have an eye for the ball. Then lengthy secondary that attacks the ball and acknowledges their assignment and has good range. So we definitely have a test going up this weekend, and we're excited for the challenge.
Well, thank you, Jalen. Good luck this weekend, and roll tide, and look forward to talking to you again.
Appreciate you. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide for Christopher England, Jalen Milroe. That's it for First Off the Field from the Hank Chris Indoor Practice Facility.
Great to see you.
It's nice to be here, man. This is my first time doing something like this.
I know. We got you covered. Look, first of all, there's no reason for you to be nervous, because I was talking to you earlier. I know your high school coach. Mm-hmm. When you were at Jackson Olin, I know he's at Spain Park High School now, but when you played for Coach Tim Vakakis at Jackson Olin, if you can go through one of his practices, doing a radio show is a piece of cake now. There's no reason this should be nervous. You're talking about Coach V's a heck of a coach and a big influence on your life.
Oh, yeah, man. He was a tremendous part of it. I remember my freshman year, I kind of quit football because I wanted to play receiver. Uh-huh. And it was like a whole thing, trying to get me back on the team. Something that not many people know, but he coached one of my cousins.
Right.
Yeah, my cousin was it was his senior year, and Coach B had just got there. So he ended up calling my cousins. It was like, hey, man, Q quit, and I'm trying to get him back on the team. Is there anything I could do? Just talk to him. So obviously, being a little cousin, I had both of them pressuring me to get back on the team, and just, and one of their main messages was to me was just, it never mattered what position you played, when I was in Little League, and he just, got me back on the team.
Sure.
And from that point on, I just said, if I'm going to get back on the team and do it full force. And I just ended up being a safety my sophomore year.
Right.
And then moved me down into the box, been DN when I gained some weight.
Yeah. So, Coach DeBoer, I told Q earlier, his high school, this is one of those times where you really feel old. His high school coach was a little kid hanging around his dad's office when I was calling his dad, Jim Vakakis' high school games at Montevallo High School. My first play-by-play gig.
You are old.
I am old. Thank you. Yeah. You're right behind me. Don't forget it. Not far. You're a lot close to it, but it's kind of cool. You're talking about high school coaches and legacy guys. His coach, one of those, and it's one of the really, not asking you to compare other states around the country that you've coached, but man, high school coaching in the state of Alabama, fantastic, and it's something I know you were well aware of even before you got the job here at the university.
That's been really cool. It was just a short amount of time that I got a chance to go on the road in January, right when I got here, and that was a little crazy. But our coaching staff having a chance to go out in the spring, and then coaches clinic, and just the interaction now that's happened since the last 9 months. It's certainly apparent, and you see it with the guys that come into our programs and how well coached they are. The in-state coach is doing a great job. It's very competitive.
Tell me about this young man, Coach.
Yeah, this was an easy one to know that we wanted to have Q up here just joining us. We're not thinking there yet, but I know that just the way Q looks at this program and what he's put into it, he makes the most of every day, and I know that he knows that those days are counting down, and going to make the most of every one of them, and that's what's cool to see. And he's one of those guys that in these moments right now, you can really count on to bring his best. And, you see a lot of the plays defensively that he's out there making, and he's a technician and obviously a great athlete, but you can tell that there's years and years of work that's gone into refining his craft. And then the special teams piece, just how a lot of guys will look at it as like, that's special team. Like, he has made that something that is a priority for him, and it will honestly be something that will help him at the next level. We've had many conversations. We even use him as an example with the team, just because of his commitment to that and how that will help him well beyond his days here playing at Alabama.
Q, a lot of times you hear of a staff coming in, and they're talking about the future, but for you, the future is now. You're one of those guys. Tell me how much it meant to know that while this staff is looking obviously to the future, that's the nature of coaching, everybody's got to look ahead, that they were spending so much time making sure you guys knew how committed they were to right now and keeping the standard where it's been at Alabama.
I think it was very important for me because, and I've been here for obviously a long time, and I've been through the standard, learned what the standard is, and felt the standard, what I'm saying, just going through the fourth quarter and just upholding that obviously just meant everything to me because, that's all I know right now, what I'm saying? I've been here for 5 years, and I kind of push it to the guys, man. I just kind of echo it and just make sure I keep it going on, and just make sure I just reiterate it every time I, go to practice or just have like a little small talk with some of my teammates, and I just think we do a good job of doing that.
Part of that standard is no scoreboard. And so when you guys came back out there against Missouri, it's as if it's 0-0.
Right.
What did it mean, though, to get the shutout and to do it the way you did against Missouri?
I heard a lot of people saying it was a statement game for us, and really that's just a standard. Honestly, we talk about just being a physical defense and just taking the ball away, and we can talk about all those things, but at the end of the day, we just need to have the offense not score.
Right.
And that's just the standard, and it's always been the standard. And we're going to continue to make sure the standard keeps getting uphill.
Besides the fact you're probably going to be talked ugly to, what have you told the players about playing in Baton Rouge? They got some different words down there, Coach. I mean, they take it to a new level. They're pretty good with it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It gets loud in there, and I've been trying to talk to some of the transfers about it as well. It gets loud, even louder than Tennessee at times.
Yeah, it's different. You've heard it before. I mean, it's one thing to be cussed. It's nothing to be cussing Cajun, Coach.
Yeah,
it's a different deal.
I will say I think that coming with the Alabama team versus the one that I was at Eastern Michigan, I think there'll be another level of intensity that comes with it. And, that was a night game, but I think this night game will probably be a little different.
Tell me about, Coach, the leadership that this young man brings to the table, what it means in the meeting room as much as it does on the field.
A lot of the things that he's saying that I said about just bringing it every day, that's just not the effort. That's, I can think of situations where just really, he talked about younger guys, transfers, whoever they are that are coming in, just really mentoring them. I remember early in the spring it was actually the summer, just some of the new faces talking about how the upperclassmen really were making them feel like they were needed and wanted. And I know that Q was one of those guys that just pours into these guys. And I see it even on the practice field right now. When we get out there, he's working on his stuff, but he's also trying to bring others along. And it's because it's who he is, but it's also because he understands that we need every guy in this football team to continue to raise their game to reach the goals that we have as a football team.
Q, position coaches change. We saw it from a year ago. Head coaches change from time to time. But at Alabama, the standard was set long before Coach Saban got here. It will be the same 30 years from now when Coach DeBoer is gone. But tell me, each season I know is different.
Right.
So what's unique about this team that you've experienced?
We have a lot of grit. I mean, we just have that relentless factor, that stubbornness factor that we won't just go away, and it won't be easy. And I think when a team is just as dominant like that, it's kind of hard to get rid of us.
I saw the look on your face. Did you just do the math and go, I ain't coaching at 80 years old?
I was going to comment, but I just held on to that one. So I did do the math there real quick.
It's like, oh, that doesn't sound good, Chris. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We've got more coming up. Q Robinson is with us along with Coach Kalen DeBoer. We're at Baumhower's Victory Grill. It is the Kalen DeBoer Show here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
This week at Alabama is presented by UA Online, proudly supporting the military, including special tuition grants for undergrads. Alabama women's basketball hits the road this week, but don't worry, they will be back in Coleman Coliseum on Sunday, November 10th to host Troy at 2. Alabama men's basketball will be in action here at home. The Tide will host Arkansas State this Friday at 7 p.m. for Friday Night Lights. The Tide will continue the homestand on Monday, November 11th against McNeese State at 6 p.m. for Bama Salute Night, so come show your support for our military personnel. Alabama volleyball returns to Foster Auditorium next week for a weekend full of matchups with Bama Salute Night against Mississippi State on November 15th at 6, and again on November 17th at noon against the reigning national champs, the Texas Longhorns. You don't want to miss out on some great volleyball. Alabama football is back in action after the bye week as the Tide returns to SEC play to take on the LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. The Tide will be back at home November 16th to host Mercer for their Bama Salute game with a 1 p.m. kickoff. Students, make sure you sign up for Crimson Chaos so that you can be a part of Tide sports all season long. You can join through your MyBama account. Sign up today. That's it for what's happening this week at Alabama, presented by UA Online, where you can earn a top-notch bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree tailored to you in social work. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back here next week. Roll Tide!
Formation. Hyatt hands it off. They run left side. They don't get in. They didn't get in. Bama's defense stops them. We've had bigger, more memorable, more important goal line stands. But for this Alabama Crimson Tide team, oh, Damian Square, this one was indeed huge. Huge indeed, as Alabama was able to get the stop, preserve the shutout. Q Robinson with us here at Baumhower's Victory Grill. Continuing on with more of the Kalen DeBoer Show. Coach back with us in just a second. You remember what you felt in that moment? Again, it didn't win you the game. It didn't win you a championship, but we talked about it already. The internal pride of getting the 0 on the board, but in that moment, man, it probably feels like it does. As big as it winning anything.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, it's like this team has a lot of grit. So getting that 0 on the board meant a lot. So that last stand, even though I got in on the play, I was super hyped about that.
Sure.
And then my coach met me halfway. C-Rob, he met me halfway. So like, I was super excited, and I turned up with my teammates, and man, we just had a ball.
Tell me about Coach Womack.
Coach Womack, man. He's just one of those coaches that has a lot of grit as well. You know, you don't see that in a lot of coaches. You know, for the most part, they, try to, what's the word? They try to be, have class. And
sure.
Look, Coach Womack, he cuts it loose sometimes. He got excited when we got that stop. I don't know if everybody's seen him. I heard what he said, but he was pretty excited after that stop. So yeah, that's just just explaining how committed he is to the team, committed he is to the defense, and he works very hard for us.
Hey, Coach, in the Kalen DeBoer Show, presented by Alfa Insurance, Auto, Home, Life, Business. Alfa Insurance covers it all, and online you can find them, alfainsurance.com. Coach DeBoer, we got another question from AL.com, the Alabama football Facebook page. It's from Rhonda up in Hamilton, Alabama. Hey, Coach, I see that LSU is ranked in the top 10 nationally in sacks. Is our offensive line ready to protect Jalen and avoid any negative plays?
That's a big piece of what their defense does, negative plays. And if you look, they have about 10 negative plays, maybe not quite, but it's very close. 9 to 10 negative plays per game, and sacks are definitely included in that. So the reason for that is there's an athleticism mixed with timely aggression. Where they come after you, and so that will, yes, we were working on that to answer the question extremely hard, and now you got to come through and you got to produce, you got to perform, and the execution piece, and that's on the offensive line, that's on the running back, that's on receivers getting open at the right times when it comes to the sacks piece, and of course, Jalen throwing on time as well.
Coach, we got another question from the audience here. If you would, tell us your name and go ahead and give Coach your question.
Okay, I'm Grace, and my question is, what's the biggest difference you've noticed coaching in the Pac-12 and the SEC?
We're still in the season, but you can just tell by the teams that you still have to play that every single game is going to be high level, and I think being at Alabama, again, you're going to get everyone's best shot. Knew that coming in, but then also just probably I guess thinking about it, that the size of the stadiums and every one of them, for the most part, has the close to 100,000, it seems like, and so that's probably another difference there is just the noise that comes along with it. But, you've played in places here and there, but I think every week, there's certainly a home field advantage that exists in the SEC.
All right, we've got another question here in the audience. Go ahead, if you would, just tell your name and go ahead and give your coach a question.
Okay, so my question's actually for Q. You're in your last final games. What has this university really meant to you?
It's meant a lot, just being here, just meeting new people, coaches and staff has, I really learned a lot just being here. Along with the university itself is a great university. I've learned how to mature and just, get things done and more importantly, just, be myself. And I feel like that's a huge part. If you can't go nowhere and be yourself, it really doesn't matter how good you do. So, I'm leaving this place. I'm going to miss it, but right now I'm just focused on, this game this week.
Coach, it's a rare commodity now to have somebody that's in a program this long. It used to be, kid comes in, it's almost a given they're going to redshirt. You go through everything, and fourth, fifth year they're playing. Now, that is the patience and all that's required for that is very, very rare. Tell us.
Yeah, the words that come to my mind was one was going to be patience, and the other one in Q's case also is going to be maturity. And I think there's a maturity that comes along with just going through the years you go through, but especially here and all the things you learn, you take in, people come and go, like you said, position coaches, obviously head coach or whatever it might be, the people in the support staff roles. He's seen it all, but he's just continued to stay the course, focus on the things he can control, take in all the input and continue to be better because of the different ways he's maybe been taught on how to play the position or how to, take care of things off the field, all of that. So patience, maturity, there's a lot of other great things I'd, say to describe Q.
Yeah, and the way the rules are set up now, especially when there is a coaching change, as there was, it'd have been understandable for some if you wanted to go somewhere else, but tell us why you stayed at the University of Alabama.
Well,
and by the way, thank you for doing it.
Obviously, I stayed because I'm from the state of Alabama. I'm from Birmingham, the Inslee and Pratt City area, and man, I grew up with my family being half Auburn and half Alabama, and for so long I've sat there and watched that rivalry and never thought I'd be able to go to college. But, you know, when I got to college and they gave me the offer, I mean, it's kind of hard not to come.
Sure.
That's it.
Coach, is that, you knew of it, but is that one of the things you've seen firsthand since you've been here in the state, is how much talk there is of that rivalry? And I know we got a few weeks. I'm not asking you to look ahead on that. I just mean
I'm locked in on a certain other rivalry right now. So,
and that was,
but yeah, we will definitely get to that, and I'm certainly aware of it.
yeah, it's amazing how it is in the state itself. All right, final word is brought to us by Mercedes-Benz. The vehicles are all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Coach, what do you got for the audience here tonight as we wrap it up?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it kind of has felt like forever since we've played, even though, you know, it wasn't that long ago, but it just, you know, guys are, I know, chomping at the bit to get back on the football field and continue to, you know, be rewarded with the work that they put in, you know, and that's, you know, they're just being able to stay with the process and just stay with the things that matter and focus on themselves has just been so impressive to me. And, you know, just want that you want it to result in wins. And, you know, I expect us to be well prepared and ready to go on Saturday. And so just everything I've seen, I like where we're at. And, you know, we're not done yet, but I like where we're at right now.
Always good to see you. Always appreciate your time. Thanks for bringing Q. Was it painful? Was this all right?
Yeah, it's all right.
I know you're looking forward to the game a whole lot more than you're looking forward to this, but you did great.
For sure. I appreciate y'all for having me.
And look, you're from Inslee. I'm from Fairfield. I still appreciate you. Still good to see you.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
Q Robinson with us, along with Coach Kalen DeBoer. We're coming back and wrapping things up right after this on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
For the first time since claiming the NCAA West Regional Championship, the Alabama Crimson Tide is back in Coleman Coliseum.
This is Alabama basketball.
The preseason #2 team in the nation has many new faces, but even higher expectations as we get started on the 2024-2025 men's college basketball season. Leaner up and good, and Alabama has the 2-0 advantage. Great start for Alabama. Grip by Phylon, ahead to Reed, and Darian will get his first points in a Bama uniform with a flood. Defense leading to offense. Alabama gets the steal, and out. Reed will inbound it, gets it into Phylon. Phylon underneath, hesitates and lays it in for 2. Phylon to the right, lays it in. And he stole it on the inbounds, puts it up, got fouled, and he'll go to the line to shoot a pair. What a play by Phylon. The defensive play. Them on top, 28-14. Jaron Stevenson back in the game, driving to the rack and ripping it down. But 80 gives it off to Amori. Back now to Phylon, to Amori for the clutch. Well, 2 new teammates, but they have learned each other quickly. Alabama's getting after it defensively, getting stops, deflections, getting on the floor for 34 to go. Throws the line in the flush for the Big Red Dog, and a timeout's going to be called once again by national head coach Plott, and Alabama's going to win the opener 110.
Go, man. First one, man. Start.
Roll Tide, roll! The Alabama Crimson Tide. Cunningham again. Shot good, and she's fouled. There she goes, and there's Barker.
Timmons there, setting her team up.
Possibly the dagger for Alabama. Right to the rim. Got it. Kicks. Nye, right corner 3. She hits it. Nye steals the inbounds. Left side to Timmons. Layup good. It's a 2-point game.
program brought to you in part by Barkley Buick GMC in Tuscaloosa, where Barkley makes it easy. What's on tap next for Bama is presented by Coors Light. Crimson Tide fans choose chill with an ice cold Coors Light. Next up for Bama, of course, Brian Kelly's LSU Tigers this Saturday, November 9th. It's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Our Crimson Tide Sports Network game day radio coverage will begin at 3:30 Central Time. The game broadcast is going to be presented by Beatbox. That's the original party punch. 9 delicious flavors, non-carbonated, and it's resealable. Be the MVP of your next game day tailgate with Beatbox. Big thank you as well to our friends at Christopher Mobley. That's the preferred luxury clothing provider of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Had a good visit with Christopher earlier today and excited about the game weekend, as all of us are, making our way to Baton Rouge for the matchup this weekend between the Tide and the Tigers. That 3:30 ball game. Alabama coming in as, again, squad that is ranked 11th according to the playoff rankings, the CFP coming out, and LSU at number 15. Very important, obviously, for both squads as it relates to the playoff, and very important within the SEC first and foremost as well. The Tide coming in with a 6-2 overall record, 3-2 in SEC play. LSU has played one fewer conference matchup. They're sitting at 3-1 right now, as Bama has, or excuse me, as the Tigers also sit at 6-2. Hard to believe it's the third year already for Brian Kelly in Baton Rouge. 26-9 is his mark as the head coach of the Tigers. Coach DeBoer in his 10th year as a collegiate head coach, an amazing record of 110-14 in 10 seasons as a head coach. Coach Kelly, 35 years at different levels as well. 310, 106-2 is his all-time coaching record. Do want to remind you as well that if you missed any portion of tonight's show, you can always catch it on demand. That's on our Alabama Insider podcast. Download and subscribe wherever you happen to get your podcast. Another big show that we had here. Our thanks to all of our guests who spent some time with us on the program, and definitely appreciate the chance to visit with Alabama's swim and dive head coach, Coach Gear, spending time with us on the program, Margot Gear, as well as Coach DeBoer and Bama linebacker Q Robinson. For our studio engineer, Jerry Kelly, our producer, Tom Stipe, and our vice president of broadcasting, Coach Jim Carabin, I'm Chris Stewart. Roll Tide, everybody.